Marshal Onoya, if you can hear me, I'd like to get feedback from you and give us an update of how it is panning out now where you are.
Well, thank you very much. It's still the same thing as earlier. You have the airport being picketed by the NLC and TUC and the amalgamated Labour Congress members who earlier on, we didn't have this canopy here mounted, but after my report earlier on, talking about how the place was shut and passengers are not allowed to go in, neither are those in allowed to come out. Also, workers were not allowed to go in as well. But here we had, after that report, we had some members of the labor union come around and mounted this canopy you find here right in front of the gate, barricading every kind of movement, be it vehicular or pedestrian movement in and out of the GAT, that's the General Aviation Terminal of the MM2. Activities here are still grounded. Nothing seemed to be happening. No flights taking off, no flights coming down, passengers in and out are not allowed.
So I want to believe you've been able to talk to probably one or two people to ask how they're feeling as regards this, because the way it seems now, their commute has been disrupted. Would they like to, or have they said anything as regards how that has impacted probably their daily activity or what they were trying to achieve while trying to move from point A to point B?
I want to believe, I didn't hear you clearly, but I want to believe you're talking about the labor union, members of the labor unions, as to whether or not they've been able to achieve their objective. Well, yes, they would say yes, but they're not willing to talk in front of the camera. As you do know, it's a national industrial action, and so they would rather allow the communication to come from their head office. But in no time, we would be heading to the office of the labor union in charge of the aviation, and hopefully would get a member of the leadership there who would respond to us as to how things are panning out. But here, I tell you for sure, they've been able to achieve their objective, which is to ensure that activities at the airport are grounded.
Okay, so Amasha, what I actually, well said anyway, but what I actually asked is, what about people who have been affected, those who are trying to commute, travel by air and move around from where they are to other places for their various personal endeavor? I actually asked if you have interacted with them to ask how they are feeling and how this has actually disrupted their plans. I don't know if you've spoken to any of them and how they feel.
Yes, we earlier on we spoke with passengers who were distraught. Of course, they were not excited about the strike, but you could see a little bit of, while you see that resentment as to their schedules being disrupted, you could also see you could also feel the kind of support they tend to lend to the call for the increment in the minimum wage. As naturally you would have expected that there would be some agitation from these members of the public whose flights and schedules have been disrupted. But there wasn't really much of agitation. But yes, you could see disappointment on their faces as to their schedule being disrupted.
All right, Marshal, finally, before I let you go, there is speculations as regards for how long this particular industrial action will carry on, owing to the fact that previous industrial actions have been short-lived, maybe a few days after a call by the NLC and the TUC. But then from the body language and the statement of the organized labor, where you are, does it seem as though they are ready to take this particular matter to the letter, standing on their mandate, on their demand to ensure that the government accedes to their demand? Do they mean this particular industrial action as against what used to obtain in the past?
Well, it's funny, you'd say whether Labour means this action, because previously we had seen Labour come up with such proposals, and you could readily interpret the body language of Labour from everything they would say in proposing an industrial action. You would interpret it to mean that they are serious about their strike. But at the end of the day, you know how it always pans out. The Nigerian populace would always be greeted with the news of the strike being suspended for whatever reasons, and mostly these suspensions will be tied to ongoing negotiations, and that's when you find Nigerian populace, being a little bit disappointed and a little bit pessimistic about how these things will turn out. As at today, activities are grounded in various sectors and agencies, departments and ministries. Yes, we see that as a sign of seriousness on labor calling on the strike. But as to whether or not in the very next minute you would have this same action, the same situation going on, I cannot vouch, and I do not think that the average Nigerian can vouch for the labor union here.
Okay, Marshal Ononya, thank you so much for giving us updates as regards the industrial action in Ikeja right here, Lagos mainland. We appreciate that. We'll definitely keep on to communicate with you to get more details as the events unfold. Thank you so much.